Today's guest, Michaela, Matus.
Might sound very, very simple, but be bold. Dare to be bold. And this is exactly what you also just said and what we were already talking about. Just do it. And I also love one quote. So sorry for quoting so much, but I love to have quotes because they are so true and I think they're so inspirational. I love the quote of Richard Branson when he says, if someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, say yes and learn how to do it later. And I think this is so important, especially for women, because there's also a huge difference. I do not want to talk about like stereotypes, but I have experienced it myself that women rather tend to overthink, especially such situations when they have the opportunity that they have a great leader who really sees them in a new role and wants to promote them, that they are thinking, oh, well, am I good enough? Can I do it? Should I do it? And where I experienced like rather my male friends, they're bolder. They just say, well, yeah, I will do it. And I believe in myself and let's go for it. And I would love to see more women also to have this kind of mindset and way of thinking.
Michaela is from Munich and we talked about her journey as a female young chief people officer and a female leader. She was also an entrepreneur first and all her learnings she got through her diverse background in becoming a female leader. Especially we deep dived on main 3 learnings she had. It was the impact of mentoring, the impact of her network and also the reflections, how she is perceived and how you are perceived as a person, and to be bold. So it was a real episode full of passion and you could feel it from the energy. So stay tuned and enjoy. And we also made it shorter because on LinkedIn I did a survey and asked for what's the right length. We tried to keep it below 30 minutes, but it was full of content. So we ended up at around 40 minutes.
Then you can build trust and then you can spend less time communicating and more time just getting shit done.
Then I went home and thought about this sentence.
We basically put it on the table.
Hiring takes time. People are trained.
How to objectively judge certain situations.
It's very, 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 very hard to change things.
That was the learning.
Entrepreneurs with empathy.
To the people side.
Good morning, Michaela. How are you today?
Hi, Thomas. I'm fine. Thank you so much for inviting me. So I'm looking very much forward and feeling great. Thanks.
Yes, we also need to disclaim here when we record the episode, it's really beautiful outside. And I already had a lovely morning walk, so I'm in a very good mood. How about you?
That sounds great. Yeah, same here. And as you just said, weather, finally, spring is here. So this makes such a huge difference. Unbelievable. You have a total different energy.
Yes, definitely. And Michaela, you are in Munich, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes, I was born around the near area and live in Munich. Yeah.
So maybe we start with you telling us a bit more about yourself.
Yes, happy to. Yeah, so my name is Michaela Matus. I'm 33 years old and work as Chief People Officer for a company named censhare, based in Munich. We're a software company, working globally as our headquarters is also based in Munich, as I just said. And maybe a few words about myself. So because I think I'm probably not the quite common, or I do not have the quite common usual CV so far. So I already had the chance to experience different things within my past. And I think what is quite special probably also about me that I'm a quite young female leader in the tech industry, quite new, always dreamed to do this kind of step, and have also a background of 2 nationalities. So my parents are originally from Slovakia, but I was born and raised here in Germany. So I grew up with both cultures, but I have to say that I feel quite connected to Bavaria. So this thing, maybe some personal things about me. And maybe also what people often connect to me as the topic of female empowerment. So this is something that has accompanied me through my whole life so far. Yeah.
And what do you think makes you not the typical CV person?
I think that I have not like the typical career path, maybe also like people starting with their studies, then maybe going into a bigger company and doing their development there. But what I actually did after I finished my school, I decided to start an apprenticeship because I really wanted to dig deeper into the practical side of the company work and not to do studies. And then I had the chance to really touch very different industries, starting from the tourism industry, going to the IT sector, to the media sector. In between, I then decided to start my studies at the technical university because I wanted to combine my practical experience still with theoretical experience, and decided to study health sciences, which is probably also not quite common for many HR people. Then during that time, because you probably know students' life, especially in Munich, is expensive, I had extreme various jobs I did in the meantime. And by that, I had the chance to start my own business. So therefore, I gained also some entrepreneurial experience.
What business?
This is actually a funny thing, I would say, because I worked together with a company who was producing handmade jewelry and accessories. And this was a company founded with a vision to support 100,000 women to find financial independence, because this is still an issue and topic for women. So therefore, we build like a business model that we offer to every woman by selling handmade jewelry and accessories. They could build up their own business, which was a direct selling approach together combined with the e-commerce approach. And they could, build up their own business. And I helped those women to build their business, to grow, and had at the end a team of, about 60 women and one man, which was quite interesting to gain, those entrepreneurial and also leadership skills.
Wow, that's a really, sounds like a passion.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it is. It is indeed.
You can feel the energy. That's good. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it is indeed. Yeah. So because you have a real purpose there. Yeah, I think.
And what I also could say, that's maybe what I can put as an add-on, how we met. I think you are also super curious because once I think you visited my profile and then I'm also curious and asked, hey, I think we connected and then just wanted to touch base because it's not usually that chief people officers visit random profiles. Usually there is something behind, and you just wanted to check out other chief people officers. And I was there on LinkedIn, found, I think, at TaxFix when you checked out Eva or something, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm totally amazed that you still remember that so good.
Of course.
Perfect. Yeah, indeed, because as you just said, I would call myself rather curious, and what I always try to see, what is happening within the industry, and also to look for role models, also for myself, to see, how people, as you just mentioned, chief people officers have developed. What is their background? What were their career paths so far? What have they done? Where have they been? Because this inspires me. And and this was exactly, as you just said, the connection then, how we met finally. Yeah.
And then also it was in a time when I did not have the podcast, just the idea, but I think I told you, right? I will launch it. And once I launch it, I want to interview you then. And now it's happening. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. That's amazing because I really love you. You announced it and you followed your vision and you kept your promise, which is really great. So I'm really grateful.
And we will also have Eva on the show. It's just a bit tough with her on the schedule because we had to reschedule 1 or 2 times. But now I think next week when we record this, so maybe she will be the guest after you or one after the next guest. So
great.
Stay tuned also for Eva.
Oh, cool. So much looking forward to it. Nice.
Okay. Great. So let's maybe jump into a topic because you also said that you are really passionate about women in leadership. How do you see the topic and what makes you so passionate?
Well, that's a very good question. I think what makes me passionate about it is that I truly believe, and I think also this is like no secret, we have proven evidence that diverse teams, and of course diversity is a wide thing, but maybe staying with the topic of female and male or regarding gender diversity, that diverse teams are more successful in the end. They're more innovative, they're more creative. And what I personally experienced in my career so far, that I not had often a lot of female role models, because it was always rather male dominated. And therefore, it's just said with Eva, this was the case that I just, oh, wow, there is a woman, and wow, cool. Let's see, what she did. And yeah, so I think this is still an issue, that there are not enough female role models and female leaders in general, not visible enough. And I think we have to actively work on it to really make this happen, that we empower more women, especially, of course, now talking about my industry where I work now in the tech industry, to empower women on the first hand to join the industry, but of course also then to step into leadership roles as well, because I think those are actually rather two things, and there is a lot of work still to do on both sides. Yeah.
And do you now have found some role models?
Yes, I have indeed. I'm not sure if I can also name a few, but yes, I have definitely. So this is why I love to also look at LinkedIn profiles. I listen myself a lot to podcasts. So I love this kind of medium to really get in touch with those people and their minds and their ideas, because you can learn a lot from them. So yeah, definitely it has developed for the better, and especially within the startup scene, I think, which is quite big, of course, in Berlin, in Munich also now, luckily, there are a lot of great women, definitely, yeah.
And how is it with yourself? What was your personal leadership journey?
So I think it's a bit also connected to that, what I just mentioned before when I entered my also entrepreneurial ground. So I always used to be, I would say, a person that was taking over ownership and responsibility. It started just so like going very, very back to the youth times, where I was youth chancellor of my city. And of course, also within sports, I think this is quite common for a lot of people. But I realized that it always takes people who step out, who dare to be bold and to, just make things happen. And I often realize that also among my friends and also my personal network, it was often not the case that those were the female types, but rather always like rather boys or men doing. So therefore, I would say I was more or less sometimes forced to do it because there was no one else. But I realized, okay, I like to do that. And this was then like going through my career. And when I just had the chance to gain those entrepreneurial experiences, this was, of course, a huge value also for my personal development and also for my career, because, I could prove that I learned leadership also by doing it. Of course, you can always attend trainings, and I did that, of course. And this is just, of course, one thing. You always have to get new input to learn and to train and develop yourself. But I think it's also important to do it, right? And to learn it on the job, and just to always do it, get feedback, reflect yourself again, and then learn again. So this is like the learning journey, I would call it. And I think that this supported me also then to become the next step when I finished my entrepreneurial career, because this was unfortunately during the COVID phase. So the company had to stop its business. But then during that, I already had been working student within another company, and I got promoted there, and then soon became also a team lead there. So this helped me in my personal and also professional development in my leadership career.
And what do you think are the top 3 maybe learnings or mistakes you faced in your journey? Maybe first start with learnings or wins.
Yes, happy to. So I would say that I had the great opportunity to have great mentors, and this doesn't necessarily need to be like my direct boss or someone like working maybe in the same team or department, but I had always a great mentor where I could learn from, who supported me and who always empowered me in believing in myself and in just exactly the thing that I just mentioned, just doing it, right? So I think this is such a great value and impact, and I would always recommend everyone, look that you find a mentor for yourself, or if you have, of course, the best way is always to have like a great boss that supports you, that really makes sure that you can have a space and feel an environment where you can develop. And I also had that luck.
I need to stop you here before we go further. How do you find a mentor?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I heard one quote sometime, and I kept that in my mind, because it says you cannot found a mentor. It is found somehow. And what I always did is that I looked for people, they're already there where I want to get, right? So this was for me always my kind of guiding principle, that I looked for people who were there where I want to get. So because I think if you will like always stay where you are, there will be like no progress and movement. So I always looked for people, and this could be for one hand, on a personal side, of course, were personalities that I were really looking up to. They were having like career progressions and career paths that were inspiring me, and I said, okay, I want to also achieve that. Also, maybe on a financial side is something that is not often mentioned, but especially for women, gender pay gaps and things. This is also a big topic. So I looked up to women where I said, wow, they have gained a certain financial independence. So I want to surround myself with them because I want to learn how they got where they got. So this was one of my guiding principles. And I followed those people. I reached out to them, of course, got in touch with them. And of course, people are always busy, so you cannot say, well, hi, I'm here and can I be your mentee? But you have to show the people that you have an interest in them. And I also always ask, hey, what can I maybe bring in? What can I do to support you, so that they see there is a real honest interest, but also that it's not like only taking their time from them, but really wanting to bring in some value. And then it's all about building relationships. So this is what I experienced, really build the relationship. And then it was actually, as I said at the quote before, we just found each other. And then, it was like, we never said, well, can you be my mentor now? But it just developed, right? So,
and do you have an example of maybe one mentor, how you got to her or him?
Yes, I have. And this was a person, especially during my entrepreneurial time, where I just met her already years back. So, and we did not have any contact. And she already knew me, which is a funny thing, when I was a little girl, because we lived in the same hometown. And then contact was lost. And luckily, due to social media, we found some years later each other again. And I just saw, okay, she was always posting some nice pictures, and they were always having fun and attending events. And she was always just telling, well, now we have a new partner within our network onboarded and things like that. And it made me really curious. So I asked, okay, what are you doing? And hey, we have met so far. Let's just meet up for a coffee. And then she just told me about her business. And I was so excited. I said, okay, well, I want to do that. What do I need to do? And this was how we just met. And she saw that I just brought this willingness into, and this motivation and this, this power. And she appreciated it by saying, okay, if you need support, I will support you. But I also want to see that you're doing something, right? Not just only taking, but doing. And she saw that I really, from the first day, started to build a rather big business. And that's how we then became like this mentor and mentee relationship constellation.
In case you like my show, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. I think that's so true, to just be pragmatic there, get things done, and also believe in what you do, because then also others join the journey, right?
Yes, exactly. Oh, that's so nice that you said it, Thomas, because I absolutely truly believe that it's what you give is what you get returned. It is absolutely the case. And if you get in the energy, you will attract other people that will match your energy, right? And you will then surround yourself with the right people. And there's also a nice saying, which is absolutely true, what I have experienced so far. And it's also one of my guiding principles. You will be always the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with the most. And you can really bring that to all topics of your life, depending on the quality of your relationships, also your financial status, your professional development. It's always that your environment, and especially the people you surround yourself with, is so important.
That's really true. I also do it in exactly that way as you mentioned it. So it's also my blueprint. So thank you also for sharing it again. And I think now, as an entrepreneur, what is really cool is that I have the full independence of what I want to do next as a business owner. And I have the, let's say, independence to also hire paid consultants in a certain area of, I know that they are very good at, in a certain field. And then I can hire them to work with me on PeopleWise, for instance, to figure out how can we translate, for instance, that certain principles that they already know from other industries or from other environments into our environment. And then working, let's say, in one area, for instance, like, let's call it revenue. Then I have now somebody working with me on some growth stuff, on some revenue stuff from the industry, but also from B2B SaaS, to just get the best principles out of there and try and test things out. Additionally, also, was what you said, spending time with a lot of people who already have been there and done that and so on. But also additionally, have somebody way more junior in the team as well, to also have a fresh perspective that they just think in a very naive way.
Yes.
where you would never think of. And all of these components, for me, this is currently like really, really outstanding. And every day feels like a new adventure.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That's so cool. I just wanted to add it because I'm also so passionate about this pragmatic mentoring topic and so on, to also get into practical doing, right? Because some people, they maybe look for mentors or are in those mentoring groups, and then maybe nothing is happening. Yeah, that's not so good.
Exactly. This is a very good example you just mentioned. I experienced that also myself, where I joined a certain network and it started, but then it somehow did not really work out. And it was like a real dead thing, I would say. So I really love your approach and what you just said also now, that not only you're experiencing that by yourself, but you're creating, again, also new relationships by doing that. Also for the junior person you just mentioned, this is amazing to be in his or her situation and to have those people around. Really
I think
nice.
as well. And it creates also a bit of, I would say, loyalty, but not in a way that you feel you owe somebody something, but because the incentive for everyone is the same and everybody gets so much out of it. That's so good. If you have these motivations aligned, wow, powerful. You can really move.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah, I see that the same way.
Okay, cool. So first, learning mentoring. What are the other two?
Maybe the second is actually a quite good connection now, what we already talked about. It's very close to that. So what I learned is also, might sound very, very simple, but be bold. Dare to be bold. And this is exactly what you also just said and what we were already talking about. Just do it. And I also love one quote. So sorry for quoting so much, but I love to have quotes because they are so true and I think they're so inspirational. I love the quote of Richard Branson when he says, if someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, say yes and learn how to do it later. And I think this is so important, especially for women, because there's also a huge difference. I do not want to talk about like stereotypes, but I have experienced it myself that women rather tend to overthink, especially such situations when they have the opportunity that they have a great leader who really sees them in a new role and wants to promote them, that they are thinking, oh, well, am I good enough? Can I do it? Should I do it? And where I experienced like rather my male friends, they're bolder. They just say, well, yeah, I will do it. And I believe in myself and let's go for it. And I would love to see more people to see more women also to have this kind of mindset and way of thinking. So therefore, it was also applying to myself. I also never had leaded a team of 60 women before when I joined the business, and I did not know what was coming and expecting. But you go with the flow, you grow with your way. And of course, it's not happening by itself. You have to work on it and you have to train yourself, develop yourself. But it's exactly as it is in this quote, you will learn then by doing it. And therefore, the first important thing is do it. Yes, do it. And even in the worst case, when you will realize or it will turn out to be not the right decision, it's not a one-way door. I think you can always change, right, your decision in that certain environment or circumstances.
Definitely. And I think it's also important then to manage the expectations, that people are then not disappointed because you were a bit too bold.
Yes.
But of course also not insecure that nobody trusts you, and also gets insecure in, okay, can the person deliver or can I trust? So I think it needs to be a good balance.
Yes, exactly. I totally agree with you. But what I also learned is that if there is someone who is offering you some, for example, let's stay with the example, a new promotion, a leadership role, then the person has confidence in you, because you just said it's not like a total riskful decision. Well, let's put just maybe someone on the CEO chair, right? But there, you have a proven track record. You seem to have showed that you're capable of taking over this role. So there is someone believing in you, and also within a company, it's normally not the case that only one person decides this, but there maybe the management has taken the decision. So there are people who are trusting in you. They see you have the capability and the skills. So if they are trusting in you and believing in you, then you are also the one who should do that. So therefore, this was also, I think for me that I learned and have seen a lot of times.
I would say I also have a female role model there.
Cool.
And that's my co-founder, Mina, because we work together since 5-6 years already. And I am this typical male, I can do it guy.
Which is good, yeah.
Yes, but to be honest, she is even more in that sense, but way more way more on the, she plans that really out and comes with a clear plan. And for me, it's more, okay, we make it happen somehow. And then I'm a bit more the stumble upon it and figure it out somehow. But how she is doing that in her way, I often really learn a lot. And that's so powerful because we can really move fast together. And we are fully equal with everything, but also a very, very diverse team. From background, from the way we operate, from the things we like, from the style we operate. The only common thing we really would have very similar, where you could not even put a piece of paper in there, is the aligned goals. And that's so nice.
Cool. Wow. Oh, that's amazing. It's such a powerful combination that you two as a team. Wow. Amazing.
And but I can agree, it's not so easy to build that, because we both first really needed to trust with all the economic situations all the time that change and so on, right? Into ourselves and into our approach. And sometimes the things really looked bad, but just the mindset in here that, okay, you can do it also against the odds. If you then really believe in that, you can make it happen. And that's really, really, really important. And I think what you also just said is super interesting to say. If there is somebody offering you something already or asking you, they already believe in you. So also sometimes go with the perception, right? And then grow into that perception, even if you don't perceive yourself in that way already.
Yes, exactly. It's nice how you summarize that. Absolutely. And it's not saying that, well, it will be not maybe also sometimes a tough journey, or that, as I just said, you of course have to learn, you have to do, but that's part of the journey. But again, just, you have to do the first step in that case. Yeah.
And this is also what I saw with some people in maybe the head of director level, that they sometimes are stuck. They feel stuck. They don't know what's the next step, or what are they even good at. And then when somebody externally is looking at them, I can really see a certain spike or profile where I would say, yeah, that would be maybe your journey or your career direction. But they are maybe sometimes, as you said, not bold enough to believe in yourself that would be the right direction. But it's also a bit of, you really need to want it, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you need to want it, and you have to be open for it. And maybe, I think this is also, again, a very nice bridge you just made, Thomas, to also my third learning. I love that you just said you sometimes need people around you who can just show you somehow the mirror in a positive way, right? So because you do not see, maybe even if you face like a phase you mentioned where you might be not sure what's the next thing to do, to ask your peers and to ask your network. So what do you see as my strength? What do you appreciate about our collaboration? What do you maybe see also something unique I bring into the working environment, into the world, into our relationship? So this helps a lot. And I think for that you need a good network. So I think network is also something. So this would be like my third learning that helped me a lot. And what I also just have seen proven a track record within other people's lives, that this is so empowering and so important. And network is of course like a huge wording, but this means on the one hand, of course, your personal network, right? So people that know you very well. This can be your network within your own company. So I have also like my peers where I work very closely together, and they know me very well. And they know also when we have tough situations, stressful situations, how each other reacts, and what you need to do then to balance maybe also sometimes emotions. That's pretty normal, I would say. But this is so powerful if you have people and you know each other so well, but also to brighten that network. And of course, nowadays we have brilliant possibilities with social media, but of course, this is sometimes staying rather on a maybe superficial or rather distanced level. So I really appreciate also going out and meeting people. And I did that, for example, of course, before the pandemic situation started, I attended really like so many network meetings within Munich, right? So because this is the easiest way, you can just look them up. There are so many networks and most of them are open. You can just join. I love to use Meetup, for example, for various topics. And I met so many amazing people where you never know, ways always will cross earlier or later, and you will never know whom you will get to know. And it's not about only like job opportunities that might arise, but you always learn from those people. You connect with them then also on social media. They post something, you get inspired, you get in touch with new areas and topics. And this is so powerful, I think, on all the three levels that I just mentioned.
Yeah, I agree. And what are the networks you would recommend, or what really shaped you?
Those were rather a local one. So I think there's just one network which is in Munich called I think Munich Business Diamonds Club. I'm not sure if they're still active, for example, but which was also quite nice. They always met in the Bayerische Hof at the bar, and this was very just everyone could attend, and I met various people. I cannot really summarize that. That were so interesting personalities that I just met, right? So that there was not always like directly an output of that new relationship, so that you had immediately like a way of collaborating, but that doesn't matter because we connected, we then met, and with some people you never met again. That's also totally fine. But maybe this is just to mention one non-network, and a lot of local meetups. I used really, I can recommend that, where we, for example, one meetup was we met because the initiator talked about the book, and now Das Café am Rande der Welt. You know, probably you know it. I'm just lacking at the moment the name of the author. I'm sure I will have it in a minute. So we just met because all those people read the book and they were just so fascinated by it, and we discussed about it. And again, I met like new customers out of that, for example, right? Or friendships even in the end. Yeah.
That's cool. By the way, networking, Munich. I plan to fly to Munich mid of June to do some podcasts and also meet some customers there. So I also plan to do a dinner for like CHROs and so on in the evening. So you are invited if you want to come.
Oh, thank you so much, Thomas. I love to come. Yeah, thank you so much. Happy. And
then I try to organize some people from the peer group, and then maybe we have 10-15 people sitting together and having a nice dinner.
Perfect. And this is, I love that as well, because this is also such a great and valuable thing. So really amazing that you just offer this opportunity, because it's so powerful to meet these people in this scenario.
Yeah, it's really, really helpful because you also can listen into the same problems and also some solutions from different environments. So I think it also needs to be very qualitative high. And if it's too big and too open, it's getting more transactional, but you then need to more follow up. But if it's more a smaller group, more curated, then I think the event itself can also be very, very valuable. So for instance, yesterday I was at a summit from HV Capital, and there was also other VCs who also organized something much bigger. And I would say it was just, I think, limited to 400 people, which is still big. But all those 400 people, I did not talk to everybody, but to a lot of people. And there was so many high qualitative people, from founders to investors to very relevant service providers that support the ecosystem, where I would say I know the people maybe from LinkedIn. It felt like a bit being in a video game, catching Pokemons. But this is really, really so true with the network. So I think it's so valuable, and also having a bit the time and openness to just perceive and also see, okay, what's maybe the added value you can provide or you can get from it, or somebody else can get from it, to then connect, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And you just mentioned one thing that also just reminded me of an interesting or important learning, to turn also online context into real context, right? To meet people, because it is different if you meet like in person finally, and you really have talked to the people in person. Yeah, absolutely. This is amazing.
In case you have any feedback or anything you want to share with me, please send me an email on thomas@peoplewise.com or hit me up on LinkedIn. And in case you really enjoy the show, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And maybe, so we have the good learnings now, 3 of them. Number 1, mentoring. Number 2, boldness. Number 3, network peers and also reflecting together with them. So what do you think? How can you make the whole, or maybe Munich or our industry, make the whole female leadership topic a bit more accessible maybe as well? Because I think it's also mainly on this classical white male who are sitting on the seat. What can they do? And also what can the female soon-to-be leaders do, in your opinion?
This is a very, very great question. So, actually, indeed, it is a challenge, but I think there are certain things you can do. And by the way, it just happened that the name of the author came to my mind. It's John Strzelecki. Yeah. So I think this is a very inspiring person, if I can name it here, for many others, his books. And so, what I think there are like basically things that you could do, especially as a company, rather when you're acting like, externally, but also internally. So maybe to start with the first side. So of course, when you want to get more females also in leadership roles, you have to start also like even earlier. And I think I mentioned that before. It's not only about the leadership role, but it's in general bringing women into the tech industry, empowering them, right? And this starts, of course, very, very early. So I think there is a huge journey still to go, because we should already start when kids attend school, right? To really make sure that we step out of those kind of stereotype thinking when you ask boys or girls, what do you want to become when you're an adult, right? What is your wish for your profession in the future? So that we achieve that girls are interested in technical jobs, right? That they are really curious about it. And one, I would say, rather simple measure that companies can use is taking part in the Girls and Boys Day, right? So where you as a company can invite 5 girls and to show them, hey, what we do as a company. They can really meet IT or tech people. They can accompany them for a day and just see how this is like working, right? So to really make sure that they're the very early stage in their development have the access and touch points with the industry, right? So this would be one thing. And secondly, I think it's really important in the whole field of talent acquisition and recruiting that you make sure that you make the access to the company. Yeah, when we stay to that topic, make more easier for female applicants. And one also quite nice measure that we have made very positive experience with is we use a gender decoder for our job ads, right? Because it is interesting that without realizing it, we often use language that is subtly gender coded, right? So of course society has still certain expectations on what men and women are like, right? So maybe to give you one example, which I love, the word bossy is something that we actually randomly or barely use to describe men. It's rather used to describe women, right? So this is without that we're noticing it. Like this is happening on a total unconscious level. We relate that rather with women than with men, right? So just to give you an example, and research has shown that it puts women off applying to certain jobs when the job ad is like formulated on a rather masculine coded language, right? So what we do, we use the gender decoder. There are quite a lot at the moment also available on the internet, and you can just put there your job ad in, and it shows you where there might be words or formulations that might be rather masculine coded, right? So just naming randomly, if there is often mentioned the word decision making, this might sound quite hard, quite muscular, right? So that it will be not attractive to women when they read
What
through
would
it.
be, for instance, the more female or feminine version?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I cannot say you like an exact opposite word right now, but you can then maybe rephrase it in not using the kind of word decision making, but think of how you could rephrase it to not use this word again, right? I don't know, maybe to say, that's a good question. I would need to think about it, to be honest, but to really show you that.
And I think this is also why it's a problem, because it's not so easy.
Yes, exactly. You see, it is the case. Yeah. So our recruiting team then says, looks at it and says, okay, now we really need to dig deeper into that and find a neutral wording. And it's not the case that you you want, of course, someone who is capable of taking decisions, right? And who is a strong leader and can also take tough decisions. It's not about putting that kind of skill out of the job ad, right? But it's about rephrasing it and finding other wordings for that, right? And it is also proven that it's not the case that men will then not feel attracted by the job ad because you change the wording, but it's the other way around for women, right?
Mm. Yeah, definitely. And what are the gender decoders you can recommend? I just put them in the show notes.
Well, let me just check. We use one. It is, I can maybe just share the link with you.
Yes, and then I edit.
Yeah, then, I will share that with you. Perfect.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And, maybe because I did a survey and asked a bit also my audience and listened to my network, on the right podcast episode length. And they said it should be below 45 minutes, definitely, but could also be below 30. We are now at minute 38 or something. So maybe let's wrap it up shortly. What do you think is a person that I don't know, but you know that I should interview?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I have to give it a thought, but the first person that came to my mind is actually Sabine Menke. She is my counterpart of our sister company. So she's the director people of the company Facelift. So we're all belonging to the Dumont Group and the United Group. So I work with her very, very closely. And I would say that a lot of the topics I mentioned also are same for her. So she would be like part of my network. We have a regular exchange. So we work for different companies, but we, as you just said, you do not always start everything from scratch by yourself. But I always ask her, or the other way around, she asked me, hey, how do you handle this topic? Or this, how did you tackle this challenge? So did you already come up with a solution if there is a law change, right? For example, and things like that. So we work very, very closely. And she's also very, I would say bold person who has also proven track record within her career. And I would say we learn a lot from each other, which is also nice to see. And I really appreciate also about her. She says she can also learn, and we have also a age gap. So we're not the same age, but it doesn't feel like that, right? So, and that's also nice to see that it's never a matter of age or those kind of factors, but you can always learn from each other, right?
That's great. And also, when I do the episode with Eva, what should I ask her? Because you really wanted to look her up as well. So maybe I can also ask a bit in what you wanted to know.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for asking me. Definitely. I would love to hear about what are her 3 greatest tips or hacks to all women and female leaders, but of course also a man can learn from that. But what helped her the most within her career and her development?
I will do that. I took a note on it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Thomas.
And to wrap it up, any final words?
That's a good question. I think maybe just to also empower maybe some companies that might be listening. I think it's so important that we make role models visible. So I can only, maybe just address everyone to, if you have like female role models, make them visible, talk about them, make them visible also internally, so that you talk about the career path of women within your company, to empower and inspire other women in your company that they can do it too, right? But also externally to share this also on the media possibilities we have nowadays. And I think it's really important that also the managements open themselves for new ideas, disruptive ways of thinking. And this means also for uncommon, or rather uncommon, CVs and career paths. So I have met such great experience with hiring people who have not the ideal management path, which was probably common back in the 80s or 90s. So times have changed, and we have to be open. We have to start disruptive ways of thinking, and just be teachable, to also learn from the fresher, newer generations, the younger ones, because as you said, also in your case, they bring in sometimes naive ways of thinking, which might turn out at the end to be very, very good and very intelligent in bringing in new ideas and innovation, creativity, and in the end also, positive outcome.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. It was nice to speak to you.